Y'all don't know, man. The Cleveland Browns was on a bye week this week. That's why you haven't heard about Dylan Gabriel having a terrible game this week, because the Cleveland Browns are on bye week. And you didn't hear everybody calling for Shedeur Sanders because they're taking a break. But Kevin Stefanski is back, baby. Kevin Stefanski is back from that bye week. And guess what? He is up to his shenanigans all over again. And he surprised me with this one. I can't lie to you. I couldn't have seen this one coming. No one could have expected what just happened or what he just announced, basically. Because why would he do something like this? Right? But at the end of the day, I think Kevin Stefanski on the bye week, and he got a chance to see Joe Flacco throw for 470 yards. And that obviously struck a nerve somehow for Kevin Stefanski. I know he wished Joe Flacco would have threw for 470 yards in his offense, but no one could throw for 470 yards in his offense because that offense is terrible, outdated, and it needs to be refurbished. But hey, for some reason, Kevin Stefanski didn't take the time out to evaluate how bad his starting quarterback is, which is Dylan Gabriel. He only wanted to evaluate himself and how his play calling was going. So, what does Kevin Stefanski do? Can I get a drum roll, please? Kevin Stefanski decides to remove himself from play calling duties to protect Dylan Gabriel. That's the only reason he's removing himself from play calling duties, is to protect Dylan Gabriel and not play Shedeur Sanders. I've never seen a coach remove himself from play calling duties because a third-round quarterback wasn't capable of getting the job done. How does Kevin Stefanski skip over benching the quarterback and seeing if the backup quarterback or the quarterback behind him can get the job done and saying, you know what, it's my fault. Let me remove me and get you another offensive coordinator that can help you be successful. How? When? When did you ever see it? Maybe for a first rounder, yes, that had, high grades on everybody's board and, the potential is crazy. But for a third round, 5'10" quarterback, he steps down from play calling duties. This is deeper than rap, y'all. What's
his reason? What's the reason he's saying?
He's not saying it. There is no reason. But we'll read the article. There is no reason. But I have a reason. And, I should have been brought it up and talked about it before. But there's obviously something going on. Like I said, it's deeper than rap. But if it was never obvious before, what the Browns are doing to Shedeur, it is obvious now. Kevin Stefanski removing himself as the offensive coordinator is as clear as day, a clear indication Shedeur is being played with. These are things that I am looking at. What can we do better? Stefanski said of his decision via Jeff Scourgill of the News Herald. I have a ton of trust and faith in Tommy. He's more than capable. So excited for him. But bottom line is we have to just get better collectively. So that offense, that's defense, that's special teams, that's players, that's coaches. So that's our charge, and that's what we're working hard to do. Stefanski said the bye week allowed him to look at things, and he felt like Tommy Rees gives the offense a good chance to improve. I just felt like it was time for this, Stefanski said. It's never about one person, whether you talk about a player or a coach. Of course, he's referring to Shedeur Sanders.
That's a shot right there.
That's a shot, right? But obviously, I think Tommy's going to be himself, and that's what I'm asking him to do. I'll be there every step of the way to help him in any way I can, like you should with any play caller. But bottom line is he understands what we need to do, which is stay on the field and score points. That's the message. Now, Stefanski is making Tommy Rees the scapegoat to stop from playing Shedeur Sanders. This is crazy, man. Kevin Stefanski is stepping down, making Tommy Rees the offensive coordinator or the play caller, so he can be the scapegoat for not having to play Shedeur Sanders, because it's time to play Shedeur Sanders. But this is another excuse that Stefanski is using to shy away from Shedeur Sanders. And it's so funny because Stefanski didn't have a problem benching Joe Flacco for Dillon Gabriel. Why is it a problem to bench Dillon Gabriel for Shedeur Sanders?
Hey, I think JT got a little point right here. He said that did he remove himself or somebody else removed him?
Exactly. I don't know, man. Maybe it's the powers to be. But I think he had to remove himself because this was a way that he can get away with not being able to play Shedeur Sanders. Think about it. This is the last possible ditch effort for him not to have a reason to play Shedeur Sanders. He didn't have no other reason. This was it. Unless he just stepped down as coach, period. But I bet if someone asked Dillon Gabriel, does Shedeur Sanders deserve a chance to play based on Dillon Gabriel's performance, I'm sure Dillon would agree and say, yeah, Shedeur should have a shot to see what he can do.
No, he's not.
Sure.
He's not saying that.
Based on his performance, I'm saying based on his performance. I'm not just saying based on pride, entitlement, and competition and things like that. I'm saying based on 4 games or 5 games that Dillon Gabriel played, would he, if someone asked him, a reporter came up to him and asked him, based on your 5 games or the 4 games you played, do you think Shedeur Sanders should get a shot? I'm sure he has to say yeah. What other answer could he give? He say, no, man, I think I'm getting the job done, or this week, X, Y, and Z. What could he possibly say?
This week I better prepare myself. Like, ain't anybody gonna say no. This man can have a job. Hell no, ain't nobody gonna do that.
I don't know, man. I don't know how could he not possibly say that Shedeur Sanders deserve a chance. Like,
I can't believe you expect that from him. You expect the NFL quarterback to say that? Be like, oh no, I shouldn't be starting. He should.
Bro, if you look at the film, if he's watching his film, evaluating himself the way we evaluating him, there's no, bro, that's like me going in the game and just getting scored on 3 times, and you asking me, do I think such and such should get a chance? And I say no. Obviously, I'm looking like an unauthentic person, a non-truthful guy. Like, you can't believe me about nothing. My credibility is shot. You understand? So 100% Dillon Gabriel would say yeah. I'm willing to bet. If I need anybody know any beat writers in Cleveland, please ask beat writers to ask Dillon Gabriel, do they think Shedeur Sanders should get a shot? We need to know. We need answers. But if Stefanski has so much dislike towards Shedeur Sanders, why did he draft him? I just can't figure this out for nothing. Why draft a player you are fighting not to play? Makes no sense. Draft Shedeur Sanders, all the great things he's done in college and for Colorado. Now Colorado can't get anything done without him there. You draft him and you fight, do everything in your power not to play him. From the injuries, the oblique injury, the shoulder injury, holding him out in practice. I mean, keeping him out of games last minute, making him inactive. To now stepping down from play calling duties because in 4 to 5 games, Dillon Gabriel looks awful. Production is terrible. He is doing nothing to help the offense. If Shedeur gets a chance to start this early in the season and does good, you know what that means for Kevin Stefanski? He won't have a choice but to let Shedeur Sanders be the starter for the rest of the season, and now Shedeur Sanders can be the future quarterback in Cleveland. And Stefanski doesn't want that.
That might save his job.
That might, but he doesn't want to save his job like that. That probably would drive him crazy more than anything, having to look at Shedeur Sanders every day, his swag, his style, the way he walked, the way he talked. And then, he's going to get more confident and get more comfortable and start being himself more and more and more. And Stefanski probably just have to retire and say he's done with football for unknown reasons. But maybe at the end of the day, Stefanski is more concerned with his system being the reason for any success that the Cleveland Browns offense have, because it's just not making no sense.
How much more would the offense change with a different person calling the plays?
I mean, you can always make it a run first defense or a pass first defense. You can call a lot of pass plays. You can call a lot of run plays. It just depends on, the way you're approaching the game. I'm sure there are plays that Kevin Stefanski didn't call, plays that he didn't install into the game plan based on, the handicaps of Dylan Gabriel and so on, so on and so forth. But now maybe they might try something different. Like I said, this is one last ditch effort to try to, save Dylan Gabriel and continue to let him be the starter. So we're going to see the best out of Tommy Rees and Kevin Stefanski, because Kevin Stefanski is still going to have something to do with the offense. Of course, he's just not going to completely be away from the play calling duty. He's going to be in Tommy Rees' ear for sure. You know what I mean? But this latest move by Stefanski, man, it has to be his last excuse not to play Shedeur Sanders if this doesn't work out. We all know it's not going to work out. We all know it's not going to work out because Tommy Rees can't change who Dylan Gabriel is. He is who he is. His arm strength alone isn't strong enough to be an NFL quarterback. We already established that. If it's only so long in each game before Dylan Gabriel flaws are exposed. And that's when key situations and key moments come up. And, it's basically defensive backs and things like that. We're challenging everything in front of us because we don't respect his arm strength. So he have to be able to get the football down the football field to even make us scared or be a threat to defensive backs. And then we all know that when running backs, when the running game isn't clicking, Dylan Gabriel is nothing but a sitting duck. Just load the blitzes up and fire him off left and right because he can't escape with his legs. He's not creative, that creative with his legs. So let the blitz go. But here's the connection, man. Here's the connection. There's a guy named Jimmy Sexton. He's been around for a while, and I think he's the founder, co-founder, something like that, of a company called CAA, Creative Artists Agency. And he is the agent for Kevin Stefanski and a ton of other coaches and players. Jimmy Sexton. Jimmy Sexton also represents, hear me clearly now.
I'm listening.
Jimmy Sexton also represents, or he represented, UCF head coach when Dylan Gabriel was there, Oklahoma head coach when Dylan Gabriel was there, and Oregon Ducks head coach while Dylan Gabriel played.
That's the connection right there
for Oregon Ducks. I don't know if this is Dylan Gabriel somehow became Jimmy Sexton's godson or something like that, but somehow, some way, Jimmy Sexton has he must love Dylan Gabriel because he's protected. I'm sure he has other players around the league and way before Dylan Gabriel and things like that. But why is Dylan Gabriel being protected so good? Like, what? I don't understand, man. And that's the only thing I could think of is the connection from Jimmy Sexton and that he has with all the players, with all the coaches that was responsible for, making Dylan Gabriel who he is in his college career and so on and so forth. That's the only thing I could think of, man. It's the only thing I can think of. Like, but at the end of the day, it still doesn't matter. I've watched Dylan Gabriel at UCF. I watched Dylan Gabriel at Oklahoma. I watched Dylan Gabriel for the Oregon Ducks. He is who he is. There is no change in him. The best thing he do, his best assets is making quick reads, processing everything quickly and getting the ball out quick. But those same assets that he have that he used, that are good for him can also come back to bite him in the butt because those quick reads sometimes are not there and it's too late. You already committed to that situation. And now as we've seen, those plays turn into turnovers a lot of the time, especially when you can't threaten the defense deep and they're not worried about you getting the ball deep. Right. So, we want Shedeur, man, and we're waiting for Shedeur, and there is no holding him back. No one told y'all to draft told him to draft Dylan Gabriel and draft Shedeur Sanders at the same time. You drafted Shedeur because he's a player, and it's time to give him his shot, man. And that's what he want to see, man. So.